Hello, Will Barrett, Jenna Bradborn. Yes, it's David here, your host from UUCC Zoom In Live. I'm calling to check in with my co-hosts in advance of your appearance on the show next Monday. Yes, it is our special holiday show, and yes, we thought it would be a good idea if you two guys, as the co-hosts of the show, were actually the special guests that evening. Good ideas, huh? Well, listen, no, there's not going to be any weird stuff going on. So nothing like when we had Mark Weber on the show and I asked you guys to go check out barbershops to look for nubs. And no, nothing like the Alan Georgia show where we had the superhero stuff going on. And I had the idea that maybe Jenna could dress up as Batwoman and maybe Will could look like Thor. So nothing like those things at all. Just you guys on the show. We'll do the normal stuff we do, right? Hopefully Jack Ullman will be there. I'll give us his comedy moment. And we'll otherwise just do the Q&A stuff and have you guys talk to the audience as well. So looking forward to you guys being on the show. Have a very Merry Christmas and see you on Monday. So everybody, hope you'll be joining us on Monday, December 28th for the very special holiday show of UUCC Zoom In Live with my special guests, my co-hosts, Will Barrett and Jenna Bradborn. You should be receiving the show link on Sunday evening from the sender, Zoom In Live. Hope you're having a wonderful holiday season, even in this of COVID, and that we become part of your holiday weekend this time around. Look forward to seeing you on Monday. Take care. Bye now.
The words of today's Chalice Lighting are by Paul Sprecher. We light this chalice in memory of the courage of those who have struggled for freedom, the persistence of those who have struggled for justice, and the love of those who've built beloved communities to carry on the light of hope. Welcome. This morning's service is an exploration of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is a cultural holiday celebrated by people of African descent, particularly those in the United States, but also Africans and members of the African diaspora. This 7-day festival is a celebration of the first fruits of harvest, as well as a celebration of family, community, and culture. It was born out of the Black freedom struggle of the 1960s. Dr. Maulana Karenga, the creator of this holiday, believed that culture is an important part of the freedom struggle, for it provides the foundation that determines how we interact with each other, define our goals, and engage in action. The Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles, were created to support, in Karenga's words, that twofold struggle to be ourselves and free ourselves. Each day, a candle is lit to bring focus to one of the 7 principles. We'll begin with an introductory video created and shared by Ghana Imani Hilton, who is a member of BLUE, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. After the video, you'll hear more about the 7 principles from members of our congregation and staff, Shirley Nelson, Dawn Arrington, Will Barrett, Erika Brown, Indigo Brown Barrett, and me. In addition, you'll hear readings sourced by Rochelle Obuji and Sharon Edmonds. We are especially grateful for the drum solos that were performed by Dawn's friend Ali Boyd. While Kwanzaa is definitely a holiday specific to the Black experience, the principles of the Nguzo Saba are drawn from human experience, and I think they will resonate with many of you to some degree. An important element of Kwanzaa is a deep appreciation for the struggles of our ancestors and the foundation they have laid for us. Their struggles remind us that these times are not uniquely challenging, that others have navigated troubled waters. I share with you a reading by Sabanfu and Malidoma Some, both teachers of African spirituality from Burkina Faso. We call upon our ancestors. Spirit of the earth we walk upon, Spirit of the universe. We have come to a crossroad, to a time when every word matters, to a time when we must reevaluate ourselves and our actions. Our heart is fragile. Our body is shivering in front of the unknown. Our back is heavy with past burdens, burdens we do not know how to be rid of. We ask that you shower us once again with love and compassion. Make peace reign on our heart and soul. Teach us how to see each other with a brand new eye. Help us to appreciate and welcome each other. We need your blessing to move on. We need your strength to make it through this time of turbulence. Ancestors, hold us in your peace and warmth.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of light, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth, keepers of faith, makers of peace, and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are one.
Every week when we gathered, we took time for what we call joys and concerns, where people have a chance to come here before service and light a candle in silence, or to write in our book and have their joy or sorrow read with the congregation and put a pebble in the water. We can't do that right now, but I'm thinking about all of you. I know there are several joys in our community. For that, I'm grateful. I also know there are difficult times for people, and people have sorrow. And that sorrow deserves support and care. For all these things, and lastly, for gratitude for us being together, I light our candles.
Please join us in our Unison Reading. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow.
Habari Gani. I'm Ghana Imani Hilton, and I'm going to share a little bit about Kwanzaa with you. Am I a Kwanzaa expert? I wouldn't quite say that, but I have celebrated Kwanzaa every year of my life since birth. First, a brief chat about the history of Kwanzaa. Like many holidays, Kwanzaa is a hybrid of cultures. It is American grown with Pan-African roots. Kwanzaa is meant to take the best of related cultures and make something spectacular out of it. The prototype for Kwanzaa is the many cultures and people of Africa. Africans do not look, talk, worship, or live alike. There are about 2,000 languages and 3,000 different nations on the world's second largest continent. Africa is huge and diverse. So where did Kwanzaa originate from? In 1966, after the Watts riots in LA, a Black Studies professor at California State was looking for a way to bring African Americans together. Dr. Karin created Kwanzaa using similarities between our many cultures. He chose Swahili as the language of Kwanzaa, and it literally translates to first harvest, and loosely mirrors celebrations held in many African and African American cultures when a harvest is successful. So am I saying that Kwanzaa is made up? I absolutely am. Most holidays are made up. Have you ever heard of Sarah Hale? She spent 35 years advocating for Thanksgiving to happen in this country. And it wasn't the original Thanksgiving back in 1621 between the Pilgrims and the natives. No, this was after the Civil War when they were looking for a day to be grateful and have gratitude. She campaigned to Congress and presidents, and finally it was signed into an actual holiday. There are a lot of American traditions that stem from another culture but have somehow changed along the way. The pizza that we enjoy is not quite like the pizza in Italy. Corned beef and cabbage is not what they celebrate for St. Patrick's Day in Ireland, but it is here. Kwanzaa is not an exact holiday that was celebrated in Africa. It is something that we took and created on our own based on African culture. Kwanzaa starts at the same time every year. It's always the day after Christmas, December 26th, and it always ends on New Year's Day. It's not a religious holiday, so you can celebrate Christmas and Kwanzaa, or you can just celebrate Kwanzaa if you prefer. Anyone can celebrate it. There are 7 symbols of Kwanzaa. We have the mat that represents Mother Africa, our foundation. We have the Kinara, which is the candle holder and also our candles. We have Zawadi, which is the gift for the children. We have the harvest, which is the fruits and vegetables. And we have the corn, which represents the children in the family. Also, we have the unity cup, which everyone drinks from, and it represents the first principle. Now we come to the very important part, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. What are the 7 days? Day 1 is Umoja, or unity. Day 2 is Kujichagulia, or self-determination. Day 3, Ujima, working together. Day 4, Ujamaa, or supporting one another. Day 5 is Nia, or purpose. Day 6 is Kuumba, creativity. And day 7 is Imani, believing in ourselves and our community. So what is the point of Kwanzaa? Well, for one, we should take a great deal of pride in the accomplishments of our ancestors, as well as the current Black and brown people who are doing such great things. We should spend time together as an extended family and community. We can reflect, plan, and act on how we want to be a better community. And we really should teach, educate each other on our great and diverse history. So where do we start? Well, we need to acknowledge, heal, educate, and celebrate our shared past. We should invest in our current situations. We should plan out a healthy future for our entire collective. Education, culture, healing starts at home. Your family, your ancestors. This is a ripple that should touch your community and continue spreading, but it always starts with you. Pan-African means all of us, one. Umoja ensures we gather as families, fraternities, in HBCUs, or in Black student unions. Kujichagulia insists that we tell our own stories, write our own books, teach our own history, and report the news that matters most to us. Ujima means that what we have, we share. My resources become your resources. Your problems, I take on as my problems as well. Ujamaa directs us to support the many worthy businesses with Black and brown people at the helm. Nia is knowing you have a purpose and using it for good, not just for your house, but for the community as well. Kuumba is not just the art. It is finding solutions to problems creatively, thinking outside the box, and being innovative. Imani is simply believing we are worthy, believing it is possible, and acting on those beliefs. What are some ways that you can incorporate Kwanzaa into your everyday life? What are some things that you learned about Kwanzaa today that you did not know before? And what do you think is most important to remember about Kwanzaa? I hope that you enjoyed this presentation and that you celebrate Kwanzaa every day. Have a happy and blessed Kwanzaa.
We light these candles to focus our minds and spirits on the principles they represent. Umoja, unity. Kujichagulia, self-determination. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Kuumba, creativity. And Imani, faith. Umoja, unity. The 7 principles begin with the principle of Umoja, unity, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. This concept of unity is grounded in the African communitarian worldview, which is summed up in the proverb, I am because we are. This ethos centers the community rather than the individual. In its essence, Umoja is about how we relate to each other. For as Dr. Maulana Karenga says, we come into being and best express and develop our humanity in relationship. Harmonious relations are what enable us to, in Karenga's words, increase our capacity to do our work, wage our struggle, and achieve and enjoy good in the world. Umoja is the foundational principle, for without the ability to relate to and care for each other harmoniously, it is difficult to work together to define and achieve common goals. Umoja is first and foremost about establishing unity among African people, to enrich our life and to destroy the shackles that have circumscribed our lives since the beginning of colonialism. But also inherent in Umoja is a unity that goes beyond the nation and race to encompass humanity and the interdependent web of all existence. As Karenga said in his 2017 annual Founders Kwanzaa message, Umoja teaches the oneness and sacredness of life and the interconnectedness and interdependence of humanity and of humanity and the world. It expands our arc of ethical concern and human sensitivity to the suffering, needs, aspirations, and struggles of others, calling us to stand in active solidarity with other peoples and struggles for the expansion of human freedom, flourishing, and good in the world. Umoja, the foundation.
Good morning. The second principle of Kwanzaa is Kujichagulia, self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Dr. William Herbert Brewster, the son of former slaves, speaks to that spirit of self-determination in a poem that he wrote, "I'm determined to be somebody someday." Dr. Brewster was born on July 2nd, 1897, and he died on October 14, 1987. He was a pioneer when it came to making a positive difference in the lives of the people he touched, people like Mahalia Jackson and Elvis Presley. In his day, he was a very influential African-American Baptist preacher. He was also a minister, singer, composer, a poet, and a community leader. He was very instrumental at trying to bring the races together, something that just was not done at the time. I'm determined to be somebody someday. The present conditions and dark circumstance may make it appear that I have not a chance. The odds may be against me. This fact I admit. I haven't much to boast of, just a little faith and grit. In spite of the things that stand in my way, I'm determined to be somebody someday. There's no royal blood coursing in my veins. No great family background for me remains. I haven't had a chance as others have had. My living conditions have been kind of bad. But it makes no difference what folks think or say. I'm determined to be somebody someday. Some may think that I have made a poor start. Well, maybe I have, but I'll handle that part. At the end of each round, I'll be on my feet, for there's something in me that's too hard to beat. The fight may be tough, but I'm in it to stay, for I'm just determined to be somebody someday. There's really somewhere I would like to go. There's truly some things that I would like to know. There's certainly some things that I'd like to see, and something special I'd like to be. Let others do what they will or may, but as for me, I've got to be somebody someday. As a member of a once downtrodden race, to the courts of heaven I've appealed my case. I know that Jehovah is the judge of the bench, though men may curse, deride, and lynch. My blood will cry from the ground and say, though you slay me, I'll be somebody someday. My head may be bloody and my skin may be black, but nothing shall throw me off the track. I'll climb the ladder round by round until my feet strike higher ground. And when I do, just remember what I say. I'm determined to be somebody someday. Kujichagulia, self-determination.
Ujima, which is the third principle in Kwanzaa, translates to collective work and responsibility and refers to uplifting your community. My brother and sister's problems and joys are also my problems and joys. I practiced Ujima when I started Comics at the Corner, which is a literacy program here in the Buckeye and Mount Pleasant neighborhoods, to try to battle the high illiteracy rates that are here in my neighborhood, because people not being able to read just for joy, just for quality of life, I think it's not right. And so I wanted to do something about it. Doing something about it meant that I wanted to introduce characters and joyful reading and things that I actually enjoy to my neighbors. So Ujima really encompasses this idea that whatever my brothers and sisters are going through, I am going through it as well. And we can't rest. The work is not done as long as my neighbors, as long as my brothers and sisters in the community are suffering or are dealing with a challenge, and it is our collective job to support them.
Mom.
The fourth principle is Ujima, or cooperative economics. The word Ujima means brotherhood or extended family. And this principle teaches us to support one another and build businesses that benefit the whole community. We practice this principle in our family when we purchase goods and services from businesses in our neighborhood and support local vendors. The painting behind me was created by a 12-year-old artist named Solomon Smart, and we purchased it at an event at Ridall Green Partnership. When we spend money in our community first, we contribute to the creation of opportunities for economic growth and to the continued success of the members of our community.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of
Each week, we come together as a people. Together, we share stories, love, aspiration. We also share our bounty in ways that express our religious UU values. May this important ritual of sharing abundance remind us that making our world better is a task best shared.
Our fifth principle of Kwanzaa is Nia, purpose. The principle of Nia, purpose, asks and urges us to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. It is a call to greatness based in moral conceptions of ourselves, our needs and aspirations, and our obligation to place our knowledge, resources, and righteous and relentless efforts in the service of our people, the shared interests of humanity, and the well-being of the world. Nia suggests that personal and social purpose are not only non-antagonistic, but complementary in the true communitarian sense of the word. In fact, it suggests that the highest form of personal purpose is, in the final analysis, social purpose. I mean, personal purpose that translates itself into a vocation and commitment which involves and benefits the community. Such level and quality of purpose not only benefits the collective whole, but also gives fullness and meaning to a person's life in a way individualistic and isolated pursuits cannot. For true greatness and growth never occur in isolation and at others' expense. On the contrary, as African philosophy teaches, we are first and foremost social beings whose reality and relevance are rooted in the quality and kinds of relationships we have with each other. And a cooperative communal vocation is an excellent context and encouragement for quality social relations. Our purpose is not to simply create money makers, but to cultivate men and women capable of social and human exchange on a larger, more meaningful scale, men and women of culture and social conscience, of vision and values, which expand the human project of freedom and development rather than diminish and deform it. At the center of our purpose is to work in such a way that our collective vocation of building and expanding our community always has as its central motivation and meaning our honoring the ancient teachings of our ancestors, which says, surely humans were chosen to bring good into the world. Fifth principle, Nia, purpose.
Kuumba is the sixth principle of Kwanzaa. It means creativity. Dr. Karin once wrote, "Creativity means to perform acts that leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it." As an artist, I practice Kuumba by simply sharing my art, whether it be visual, spoken, or written, and using that as a means of self-expression, as well as conveying a message of beauty and grace about my community, the members of it, and my heritage, which inspires me to create the works that I do.
The seventh principle is Imani, or faith. Faith is defined as complete trust in something or someone. This principle focuses on honoring the best of our traditions, draws on the best in ourselves, and affirms the belief and confidence in our ability as a community to succeed and triumph over struggle. I recognize the importance of this principle with the faith that I have in my family and friends, who support, protect, and love me unconditionally. And no matter what challenges I may face, I will still be successful.
We extinguish this chalice with the words of Barbara Pascan. Because of those who came before, we are. In spite of their failings, we believe. Because of and in spite of the horizons of their vision, we too dream. Let us go, remembering to praise, to live in the moment, to love mightily, and to bow to the mystery.